Hokies win it tonight, 65-63 over Georgia Tech. Buzz Williams joins me here courtside. Congratulations. What a dramatic and exciting win.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm going with this. I don't know a whole lot about basketball, but
it's pretty nice, isn't it?
It's a good luck sweater right there, man.
Where'd
you switched into this at halftime.
Yeah, so the guy, it's a tailor. His name is Scott Barber. I met him when I was coaching at Colorado State. He makes men's clothing, does a lot of clothes for a lot of different people. He's always been very kind to me, and he said, I see you're always changing clothes. I'm going to make something for you and send it to you. I said, whatever you make me, I'll wear it. And so I got that yesterday in the mail, or I guess Saturday in the mail, and I texted him and told him I was going to wear it. He's been a great friend to me for, I guess, over almost 15 years now. It's pretty nice. He made it literally. He sent it to wherever overseas, and they made one.
It's a little wet.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it down.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go through the game. You get off to a 14-2 start. You talked in the pregame about energy and focus and throwing the first punch, so to speak. You guys did that.
And I thought it would be critical to start that away. And I thought that the team that had the most energy from start to finish would be the team that gave themselves a chance. You know, obviously they played Saturday. They had to travel here. It's the dog days of February. They've played more close games than we have in conference play. So I thought it would be energy. What I told you is what I believe.
Yeah. It was interesting before the game, Seth Allen and Charles Mitchell were getting together, the former Terps, and I remember watching those two guys against the Hokies last year. That's the Charles Mitchell a lot of Tech fans remember. Man, he's a handful, isn't he?
Hard to guard.
Yeah.
Hard to guard. Just wide, knows how to use his body, understands angles, low center of gravity. I would say he probably has more and ones than anybody in the league, just because of his girth and his strength and his ability to finish through contact. And, you know, I think our guys did a really good job as best they could. He's hard to move.
As a result of all those offensive rebounds, they had 12 more shots in the first half against the Hokies. You shot a good percentage, but you were down.
Yeah, that's the thing. We held them to 37%, and we're down 5. And like I told our guys, they have more offensive rebounds than we have total. And I think, honestly, if you study their team, that's what you would say about them. You know, from the perimeter, their numbers are not great, but they give themselves a chance just because they just pulverize you on the glass, and obviously that's our biggest weakness. And so to only get beat by 12 on the glass is not awful. The problem is you know, they had 19 offensive rebounds, which is why they shot the ball 13 more times than us.
All right, so you're down 10 with 4:58 to go. It's 58-48. What are you thinking at that point?
Just mad. I think 3 out of the previous 4 possessions leading into that timeout, we had turned it over. You know, we did utilize how they guard ball screens and how Mitchell specifically was guarding ball screens, and I thought we did a good job of it. And too many of our turnovers in that stretch when I called timeout was because we were trying to hit Christian or Shane on the roll, on a slip, because Mitchell's out there showing. And we just turned it over. Turned it over 3 out of 4 possessions leading into that timeout, I believe.
Then you get a couple of threes, including one by Bibbs, who struggled a little bit again tonight, but he did hit a big shot when he needed it late.
Yeah, so out of every timeout in the second half, we ran a play that we've never practiced. So I was drawing up stuff out of every ATO. I was trying to draw up something, just a different look to, in essence, get the same action. And that shot that Bibbs hit was the first time we'd ever run it. Now, so first play I drew up, I said, guys, we're going to call this the new play.
The new play?
So if you hear me saying new, that's what I want you to run. Second time out, I said we're going to call it Georgia Tech. Third time out, I said we're calling this one Jackets, Yellow Jackets. So I don't know that that's really smart to draw up stuff like that. But we were just trying to isolate those guys.
I want to ask you, this is the second time we've had a situation. It was similar to the Syracuse game. You're down 2. You have the ball in transition. You did have a timeout left. You tell the guys to play on. Walk me through your strategy there, and Mueller gets the shot in the corner.
I've used more timeouts this year than ever in my career for rest. And I told our guys tonight, you get 4 timeouts for rest, and I get 1 for strategy. But if you're so tired that I feel like we need the 5th one for rest, that's what we'll do. But so many of these one-possession games, Bill, we don't have enough timeouts, in my opinion, to finish the game strategically the way that I would want. And that requires us to be able to work on those sorts of things in practice. The problem with that is I don't want to just absolutely destroy our guys in practice because it takes so much energy for what we're doing in games. I thought tonight we were able, I didn't want to call that timeout that I called, but you have to, because you at least have to stay in the game.
Yeah, you're down 10. They get the momentum.
And I never want to, as a coach, in a broken floor situation, I don't want to call a timeout. And so they're conditioned in a broken floor we're playing. That doesn't mean we're not going to run a play, but I don't want to have the defense have an opportunity to get set. Amidst that, if I need to call timeout, I'll call timeout because there's always going to be an official right in front of me.
And then Georgia Tech does call timeout down 1. Gets the ball to Marcus Georges-Hunt. It's his 87th start, a veteran player, their leading scorer. They get him one-on-one with Hill going down the lane, and Hill makes a great defensive stop. As big as Mueller's play was to give you the lead, Hill at the other end saved it.
Yeah, I love Ahmed. Obviously, in a whatever it's been, 24 games into his freshman year, and all the things that transpired in his story of how he got here, I cheer for him. And he's the hardest working guy we got on the team, and he's the guy that is anointed as the hardest working guy. That's not me saying it. That's our players would tell you the same thing. And so I coached number 3 at USA Basketball 2 summers ago. He's a really good player. And I told the guys that he was going to shoot it, but I thought they were going to run the horns alignment. So set the high ball screen. They knew we were switching. So drag it off, roll Mitchell down, throw it to number 3 at the top. Number 3, try to throw it high-low, and if not, he would drive it. They didn't run horns, but they did get the ball to 3 at the top.
Big win for the Hokies. These are tough playing these quick turnarounds, and I know it's been a rough couple of days for you. We've had a bunch of these games. 6 ACC games have come down to the final shot. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing. So many people think that you should study success. And I think if you go to Barnes & Noble and you walk in the front door and you look at all the stuff that they're advertising, it's about, study Bill Belichick, study Tom Brady, study Popovich, study guys that have had unbelievable success. And there's been millions and millions of dollars spent on that. Go to this conference, buy this video. And I think there's value in that. But I think as I've aged, I've probably spent more time studying failure than I have success. And regardless of what you study or if you study, whether it's success or whether it's failure, the hardest thing to do is to wake up every day and answer the bell and be accountable for who you are and what you do, and not allow yesterday's success or failure determine today's work and the accountability that comes from it. And I think when you look at our team and you look at the newness of the culture and our staff and the managers and just the overwhelming level of work and time and energy by everybody, not me, not the players, by everybody, it's just human nature to want to hit the escape valve and go, golly, man, we'll try it again later.
But the team didn't do that,
and they haven't.
And
I don't.
That's really
I think that's 10 games, right? that are one
Yeah.
possession.
Yeah,
Six
in the
play.
league, and then the
And you know,
four non-league games.
you look at our RPI games in non-conference and our RPI games in conference, there's a distinct difference in that we've played more one-possession games in conference than non-conference. Speaks to those kids answering the bell every day.